Now, the next thing we want to talk about is we're going to talk about quilting. What goes on in the process of quilting in our store. We wanted to show you this, and I am bragging because it took the village here at the Sewing Gallery. The story behind this wedding quilt is Sonny and his wife came in. They're from North Carolina. We had FaceTimed, well, not FaceTime, Facebook messaged each other, and she said she had these, and these were her daughters. And when she came in, she would like for us to create a nice wedding quilt because all of the friends had signed. And actually, these two was done by an artist that she informed me. This was the napkin that we used, and this down here at the bottom you can see is also a part of the napkin. Lori designed the name and the dates, you know, because on your machines you don't necessarily have the capabilities to spread it out, to close it in, so you have to use a font. But Lori does a lot of our digitizing in the store. So Lori came up with this for the block because these are 7.5-inch blocks. And then we went and done a 2-inch sashing. And of course Victoria was listening to the conversation when I was talking to them, talking to Pam. Her daughter's favorite color is purple, so we did the embroidery in purple. We did the borders in purple, and our backing we did the same as the sashing, just so you know the thought process that goes in and getting things lined up and squaring. And then we used a stabilizer on every one of these, the back of each one of these, and we did a simple design which is not meandering. We did, and it's not a flower because this is for the Travis and the Melissa, so it's part of a guy's quilt too. So we try not to just flower it up just because Pam was doing it for Melissa and Travis, because it's a man and woman, so we try to make it really nice. Now this is a quilt that required invisible thread because I didn't want to put any type of color thread through this because there's so much writing on it, some wonderful things that they've said. So I just wanted to show you, which I think this is their best design. You say, well, that looks real simple. Well, we were about 20 hours into cutting it out, laying it out, putting the stabilizer on the back, piecing it together, and getting it exact. But if you will look, it's exact. And sometimes that's hard when you're cutting a piece, putting it in, or the blocks, because somebody wrote too much. A little bit right here, but it turned out to be just fine. So I hope when they pick this up that they like it as much as we do. So we wanted to show you that. Now the next thing we want to show you is, this is a quilt that we are embroidering all these names on it, which I'm going to pick it up so you can see. These are the titles for the books, correct, Lori?
Yes.
Jill's going to do that today. Every place that Lori has pinned is where we're going to embroidery. This is a book pattern, which it will appear to look like a book, lots of books on a shelf. So we wanted to show you the extra mile, and this was done by Ann Farmer, which she loves the quilt now, so, and she's doing a great job. We are excited to put the names on it, and hopefully next week we can show you. But there's 30 different titles, book titles, that Jill's going to embroidery, and Lori had to digitize each and every one of these, which took her a little time, but we wanted to show you that we go the extra mile with our quilting service in the shop. I wanted to show you, we have these forms that you can print off online and bring them into the store, or you can ship us your quilt. And it tells you everything, a basic of our charge. You know, you tell us the size of the quilt. Once the quilt arrives, I can give you an exact price, but I do not quote prices just because you shoot out a size, because I don't know whether it's going to have to be customized quilt or just regularly quilted. So if you want to know exact price, please don't hesitate to bring it in, send it to us, and we can send it back to you. We'll ship it back to you. One of the other things with quilting, we go the extra mile. Color with threads, it's important, which I laid out a container, which I'm walking around now to show you that we take quilting serious. This is just one of our boxes with our pinks that we have in it. So, you know, if you're a true quilter and you run a business, you have about every color. Some people says, well, I don't want to buy that color. Well, if you quilt for people, you have to have lots of colors because there's lots of different collections. And we're going to show you this collection right here. This would make a beautiful quilt. And you say, well, what color of threads would you use on this? Well, possibly a dark gray, depending on what the design is, or black. You know, we don't take away, when you look at our quilting, which we'll go back to Melissa and Travis, with our choice of thread, which was invisible, we don't want to take away from the quilting that we've done for you. But if you come over here to the quilt, I'm going to get Lori to come over and follow me to show you this quilt that we leave hanging, because I love this quilt, and Patty Rockwell did this out of Beckley. But the quilting, I used a gray blue, but I wanted the quilting to bring it together because she has lots of colors, and quilting was important, and colored thread was important with this quilt. And I love the design. This is one of my favorite designs. I just like it. It takes a long time to do. And of course, Patty never does a small quilt, but her piecing is just immaculate. It's perfect. But Patty's a great piecer. But I just wanted to show you the difference, whether it's invisible thread or it's colored thread. We put thought process in, and people says, well, what design you going to do? I think about it. It's just like cutting hair. I always relate it to cutting hair. You know, you look at the quilt and you let the quilt speak to you. And I like to choose the pattern, unless you just hate flowers or you hate circles or you hate lines. You know, I asked you tell me that, and then I go from there. So we're starting to post a lot of the quilts, thanks to Mary, our web designer, on Pinterest and Instagram. So, you know, we're out there reaching for people outside of Princeton, West Virginia. So we wanted to mention that to you.